Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to talk about boilers. I am going to explain each factors of the boilers and their word-to-word definition will be on the screen. So let's begin the video. Now steam generator or boiler are basically a closed vessel made of steel. Their function is to transfer heat from combustion of fuel to water to generate steam. This generated steam is transported to an external combustion engine, that is steam engines and turbines. Now the important terms of steam boilers are: first, boiler shell. It is made of steel plates bent into cylindrical form. A boiler sufficient capacity to contain water and steam. Second, combustion chamber. It is the space meant for burning fuel in order to produce steam. Third, grate. It is a platform in the combustion chamber upon which fuel is burnt. Fourth, furnace. It is the space in which the fuel is actually burnt. The furnace is also called firebox. Fifth, heating surface. It is the part of boiler surface which is exposed to the fire. Mounting. It is the fitting that are mounted on the boiler for its proper functioning. They include water level indicator, pressure gauge, etc. and accessories. These are the devices which form integral part of the boiler but are not mounted on it. They include superheater, economizer, etc. Classification of steam boilers. Steam boilers can be classified in many criteria. Most important criteria is the contents in the tube, which is fire tube or smoke tube boilers and water tube boilers. In fire tube steam boiler, the flame and hot gases pass through the tubes which is surrounded by water. The heat is conducted through the walls of the tubes from the hot gases to surround water. In the water tube steam boilers, water is contained inside the tubes which are surrounded by flames and hot gases from outside. Next criteria is according to the position of furnace, which is internally fired boilers and externally fired boilers. In internally fired steam boilers, the furnace is located inside the boiler shell. In externally fired steam boiler, the furnace is arranged underneath in a brick work setting. Next criteria is according to the axis of the shell. First is vertical boilers and second is horizontal boilers. In vertical steam boilers, the axis of the shell is vertical. In horizontal steam boilers, the axis of the shell is horizontal. According to the number of tubes. These criteria, there are two types: single tube boilers and multitubular boilers. In single tube steam boilers, there is only one fire tube or water tube. In single tube steam boilers, there is only one fire tube or water tube. In multitubular steam boilers, there are two or more fire tubes or water tubes. Next criteria is according to the method of circulation of water and steam. There are two types: natural circulation boiler and forced circulation boiler. In natural circulation steam boilers, the circulation of the water is by natural convection currents, which are set up during the heating of water. In forced circulation steam boilers, there is a forced circulation of water by a centrifugal pump driven by some external power. Next criteria is according to the use. There are two types: stationary boilers and mobile boilers. Stationary steam boilers are used in power plants and in industrial process work. The mobile steam boilers are those which move from one place to another. Next criteria is according to the source of heat. The steam boilers may also be classified according to the source of the heat supplied from producing steam. These sources may be combustion of solid, liquid or gaseous fuel, hot waste gases as byproducts of other chemical processes, electrical energy or nuclear energy, etc. Now the essential categories of a good steam boilers are: it should produce maximum quality of steam with the minimum fuel consumption. It should be economical to install and should require little attention during operation. It should rapidly meet the fluctuation of load. It should be capable of quick starting, it should be light in weight, and it should occupy a small space. Also, the geographical position of the powerhouse, the fuel and water availability, and the type of fuel to be used also matters in this process. Now, the examples of boilers that are practically in use are as follows. Simple vertical boiler. It consists of a cylindrical shell surrounding a nearly cylindrical firebox. The firebox is slightly tapered towards the top to allow the ready passage of the steam to the surface. The firebox is fitted with two or more inclined cross tubes F and F as shown in figure. The inclination is proved to increase the heating surface as well as to improve the circulation of water. An uptake tube passes from the top to the firebox to the chimney. The handholds are provided opposite to the end of each water tube for cleaning deposits. The mud hole is provided at the bottom of the shell to remove the mud that settles down. The space between the boiler shell and the firebox is filled with water to be heated. Next example is Cochrane boiler or vertical multitubular boiler. There are various designs for vertical multitubular boiler. A Cochrane boiler is considered to be one of the most efficient type of such boilers. This boiler consists of an external cylindrical shell and a firebox as shown in figure. The shell and the firebox are both hemispherical. The hemispherical crown of the boiler shell gives maximum space and strength to withstand the pressure of the steam inside the boiler. The firebox and the combustion chamber is connected through a short pipe. The flue gases from the combustion chamber flow to the smoke box through the number of smoke tubes. These tubes generally have 62.5 mm external diameter, and the combustion chamber is filled with fire bricks on the shell side. A manhole near the top of the crown of the shell is provided for cleaning. At the bottom of the firebox there is a grate and are 165 in number. At the bottom of the firebox there is a grate and the coal is fed through the fire hole. The oil burner is fitted at the fire hole. Third example is Scotch marine boiler. The marine steam boiler or Scotch marine boiler are used for marine works, particularly due to their compactness, efficiency in operation, and their ability to use any type of water. It does not require brickwork, setting, and external fluids. The length of a single-ended steam boiler may be up to 3.5 meter, while for double-ended up to 6.5 meters. A single-ended boiler has 1 to 4 furnaces which enters from the front end of the boiler. The double-end boiler have furnaces on both of its sides and may have furnaces from 2 to 4 in each end. Each furnace has its own combustion chamber. There are a number of smoke tubes placed horizontally and connected to the combustion chamber to chimney. There are a number of smoke tubes placed horizontally which connect the combustion chamber to chimney. The front and the back plates of the shell are strengthened by longitudinal stays. The combustion chamber walls are from the best heating surfaces. The water circulates around the flue gases from the combustion chamber are forwarded by draught through the smoke tubes and finally up the chimney. Example is Lancashire boiler. These boilers have a cylindrical shell of 1.75 meter to 2.75 meter diameter. Its length varies from 7.25 meter to 9 meter. It has two internal flue tubes having diameter about 0.4 times that of the shell. This type of boiler is set in brickwork, forming external flue so that part of heating surface is on external shell. The boiler consists of a long cylindrical external shell built of steel plates. It has two large internal flow tubes. These are reduced in diameter at the back. These are reduced in diameter at the back end to provide access to the lower part of the boiler. The fire grate, also called as furnace, is provided at one of the end of the flow tube on which solid fuel is burned. At the end of the fire grate, there is a brick arc to deflect the flue gases upwards. The hot flue gases, after leaving the internal flue tubes, pass down to the bottom tube. Flue gases move from front of the boiler where they divide and flow into the side flue. Flue gases then enter the main flue, which leads them to the chimney. Next example is Cornish boiler. It is similar to Lancashire boiler in all respects, except there is only one flue tube in Cornish boiler. The diameter of Cornish boilers is generally 1 meter to 2 meter and its length varies from 5 meter to 7.5 meter. The diameter of flue tube may be about 0.6 times that of the shell. The capacity and working pressure of the Cornish boiler is low as compared to Lancashire boiler. Next example is locomotive boiler. Consists of a shell or barrel having 1.5 meter diameter and 4 meter in length. The coal is fed into the firebox through the fire door and burns on grate. The flue gases from the grate are deflected by a brick arc, and thus whole of the firebox is properly heated. And thus whole of the firebox is properly heated. There are 157 thin tubes or fire tubes and 24 thick or superheated tubes. The flue gases, after passing through these tubes, enter a smoke box. The flue gases, after passing through these tubes, enters a smoke box. The gases then leak to the atmosphere through the chimney. The stock flow as regulator is provided inside the cylindrical steam dome. This is operated by a regulator shaft from the engine room by a driver. The header is divided into two portions. One is the superheated steam chamber and other is the saturated steam chamber. The steam pipe leads the steam from the regulator to the saturated steam chamber and leads the steam to the superheated tubes, and after passing through these tubes, the steam returns back to the superheated steam chamber. The safety valve and a steam whistle are provided as shown in figure. Ash from the grate is collected in the ash pan and is discharged out from time to time by opening it with the help of dampers operated by rods and levers. Next example is Babcock and Wilcox boiler. The water tube consists of a steam and water drum. The water tubes are inclined to the horizontal and connects the uptake heat to the downtake header. Each row of the tube is connected to two headers, and there are plenty of such rows. The headers are provided with hand holes in front of the tubes and are covered with caps. The mud box is provided with each downtake header, and the mud that settles down is removed. There is a slow moving automatic chain grate on which the coal is fed from the hopper. Baffle causes hot gases to move upwards and downwards and again upwards before leaving the chimney. Dampers are operated by a chain which passes over a pulley to front of the boiler to regulate the draught. The boiler are suspended on the steel grinders and surrounded on all of the four sides by fire brick walls. The doors are provided for a man to enter the boiler for repairing and cleaning. The steam generated above the water level in the drum flows in the dry pipe and through the inlet tubes into the superheated steam box. It then passes through the tubes into the saturated steam box. The steam during its passage through the tubes gets further heated and becomes superheated. The steam is now taken through the outlet tube to stop the valve. The boiler is fitted with usual mountings such as safety valve, feed valve, water level indicator and pressure gauge. Next example is Lamont boiler. In this boiler, the circulation is maintained by a centrifugal pump driven by a steam turbine using steam from the boiler. The forced circulation causes the feed water to circulate through the water valves, and the drum equal to the 10 times the mass of steam evaporated. This prevents the tubes from being overheated. The feed water passes through the economizer to an evaporating drum. It is then drawn to a circulating pump through the tube. The pump delivers the feed to the headers at a pressure above the drum pressure. The pump delivers the feed of the headers to a pressure above the drum pressure. The header distributes water through the nozzle into the generating tubes acting in parallel. The water and steam from these tubes passes into the drum. The steam in the drum is then drawn through the superheater. Next example is Loeffler boilers. The main principle of working is to evaporate the feed water by means of superheated steam from the superheater. Its main principle of working is to evaporate the feed water by means of superheated steam from the superheater. The heat gases from the furnace are used for superheating. The feed water from the economizer tube is forced to mix with superheated steam in the evaporating drum. The saturated steam thus formed is drawn from the evaporating drum by a steam circulating pump. The saturated steam thus formed is drawn from the evaporating drum by a steam circulating pump. This steam passes through the tube of the combustion chamber valves and then enters the superheater. From the superheater, about 1/3 of the superheated steam passes to the turbine. The remaining 2/3 is used to evaporate the feed water into the environment. From the superheater, about 1/3 of the superheated steam passes to the turbine, and the remaining 2/3 is used to evaporate the feed water in the evaporating drum. Now the final example is Bunsen boiler. In this boiler, the feed water enters at one end and discharges superheated steam at the other end. The feed pump increases the pressure of water to supercritical pressure, thus the water directly transforms into steam without boiling. The feed water passes through the economizer to the water-cooled walls of the furnace. It then enters the evaporator and may get superheated to some degree. Finally, it is passed through the superheater to obtain desired superheated steam. Now that we understand the type of boiler, we can compare the water tube and fire tube boilers. The water tube and fire tube boilers are compared as follows. In water tube boilers, water circulates inside the tube, which are surrounded by the hot gases from the furnaces. In fire tube boiler, the hot gases from the furnace pass through the tubes, which are surrounded by water. In water tube boilers, for a given power, the floor area required for the generation of steam is less, that is about 5 meters square per ton. The floor area is required is more, about 8 meters square per ton per hour of steam generation. The overall efficiency of water tube boiler with economizer is up to 90%. Overall efficiency of fire tube boiler is only 75%. Operating cost of water tube boiler is high. The operating cost of fire tube boiler is low. Water tube boilers are used for large power plants. Fire tube boilers are not suitable for large plants. And that's it from my side. If you have any queries regarding the topic, you can ask in the comment section. Alright then, my name is Utkarsh Rudragar and thank you for watching.